My name is George Nelson. I am a junior high science teacher. I fell into modeling instruction about 8 years ago when I took the M&S program with Colleen McGowan as our leadership. What I'm going to give you a video today on is summary tables and how I use it with modeling instruction. One of the first things that I really got started on is when students were having discourse, they wanted to know what's the key takeaway, what are we at consensus with, like what's something that if they ever need to come back and review from a 15-20 minute discussion, like what were the key takeaways. I've created a model so far that the students would journal at the end. Basically, we would take the date, what's the name of the activity, and then we would write down what's our key finding, what we would find from the activity. This was an ongoing document as we went through the unit. One important book that I think really complements model instruction really well was Ambitious Science Teaching. And when it got to, I think, about the 10th chapter, it called upon something called the summary table, which was really interesting to me because when I was reading it, they're very much like phenomenon-based learning and have a lot of the things that we aim for in modeling instruction. What I noticed on there is I really liked how they had theirs set up where it was more geared towards, it was more scaffolded, way more structured than mine. I mean, this is just something I started. The kids like these journals, but what I noticed then is at the end of the unit, the students might have a hard time sifting through all this after like a 3-4 week unit where it comes time to review. So what I found online is like Dueling with Science. They have an excellent blog here. They actually map it out here, how summary tables work, and they do a really good job of explaining how the summary table is laid out, the structure of it. What I know, so what I have here then is what you always do is there's 4 parts to the summary table. Well, up top we might have the unit phenomenon, like what's the question or problem we're trying to solve, and then we might have a driving question. So we would have an activity or process, like whatever the name of the activity is, like whatever the name of the lab is, you're going to put it in left-hand column here. This is what the second column is: observations, evidence, patterns. That's what's the data, what did we find in this activity. And the third activity is like the concept, like what does this all mean? Like what is the scientific concept? Like taking this data, what does it tell us? And then this final part, really pieced together nicely, was the connection. Like how does it tie to the unit phenomenon? So like particularly, what does this look like in my classroom? A couple months ago we had this phenomenon, like why did this biodome ecosystem collapse? This is an Amplify unit. I use this summary table to help scaffold the kids' ideas and progression as we go through a unit. So like the first question of the first chapter would be, why didn't the plants and animals have enough energy to survive? So I put the title of the activity. This one in particular was a reading. We talked about, like, I just took a diagram of the ecosystem, talked about why was it important, and how does this connect to our unit. Sometimes they could just be like a simulation and take the data. Why does this matter? Like what happens in our connection? Like other times they could be readings. The activities are sequenced to help answer the phenomenon, and it's just the structure. This storyline is the model that we're developing. I like to think of this last column here, how does it connect to the unit? That's our overall model of what we think is going on and why we think it's going on. And this just structures it really well. Do we do a summary table every day? No, we usually do it either like after we've done a discussion. We might answer it as a class the next day we come in. I might give them 15 minutes, 20 minutes to fill this part in, or we might do it as a class at the end of a discussion. It just depends how the day goes. Another thing I really like what this website brings up is that at the end, it really helps the students with the framework of NGSS. Or what I've tried to do is I've tried to move away from multiple choice assessments. It really brings in this part, claim, evidence, reasoning. So like this activity, this could be the claim, our observations, our patterns is the evidence, and this is the reasoning. I think the connection here is like that's just the model at this point that we've built. And again, it's all really good with evidence and reasoning. I think that they use this then at the end to review, and I think it's really structured. So instead of sifting through 3.5 weeks of papers and documents, all the key stuff's here. Which I really like. I think that this is like the formative piece. I know in this article, in this blog, they actually mentioned that this teacher, they allow their students to use this for summative assessments. I do the same thing. Again, I also might make like a study guide, and they use the summary table to answer the study guide. So there's a lot going on there. Besides that, I don't know, special ed teachers always ask me for this because when they want to know what we're doing in class, not only do they want my lesson plans every day, they also want what we have, like what we've done each day and what we've been doing to answer them. So I think this is a great tool if you want. It really helps with management in the classroom, and absent students too, getting them students, if they're gone, I might have them just get this from their lab group, like, hey, here's a key idea. Yeah, it really, I can tell you, like, the students really, this is those times, like when we start journaling as a class, they really stop and make sure they're taking their time on this part, because they know it's going to help them at the summative down the road at the end of the unit. So I hope this helps. I think this is a great tool, and again, I think this book, Ambitious Science Teaching, also gives a lot more resources too with help you getting modeling instruction in classroom. Thank you.